Everyone, Brian Zane here. We are live from Wrestling with Regret HQ, and it's time for the SmackDown review before Survivor Series 2020. Lots of, well, I don't know if there's lots of intrigue, but there's some intrigue going into this Sunday's show. We're going to break down what happened here on the show tonight. But before we begin, I just wanted to announce or show everyone, in case you missed it on social media this week, I got some ink for the first time in my life. I got a tattoo. I'm very excited, and I will show it to you right now. Here we go. So, here, I'll get it for this one. It's better shot anyway. So it starts with the Strong Bad, right? So there's Strong Bad. And then there's WrestleMania 1 Executioner. That's a little tribute to Buddy Rose. Then I already gave it away with Mankind, and bam, look at that. These are the four masks that mean the most to me as a fan and slash worker. And of course, Strong Bad is Strong Bad. He's awesome. So I had to go with that one. That was my pride and joy now is the new baby, is the tattoo here on my arm. Good thing my artist works well with reds, because there's a lot of it in there. So yeah, that's my thing to report this week. This took 2 sessions to get done because I didn't have time to get the bottom 2 masks colored in before I had to go somewhere. And so I just got done colored in a couple days ago, and I just did the dressing off this morning. So we are good to go with this now. I'm branded for life. I'll never be buried in a Jewish cemetery, so it doesn't matter to me. I got a tattoo. So, as far as if it hurt, yeah, like it hurt like more in different places than others. Like this is super sensitive, this not so much. But yeah, it was cool. I can see the appeal in these tattoos and why people get addicted to them, and like you know, there's that rush. You know, it feels like a sunburn after the fact, but yeah, definitely proud to have those masks on my person for the rest of my life. And so we're going to begin now with the SmackDown review. The Street Profits hype up Survivor Series to open the show. They talk about the farewell of The Undertaker. In pops Big E wearing a sombrero because, quote, it's all they had in props. Big E talking up his boys in the New Day, does a great promo on their behalf and says they're here tonight. We go to ringside, and there they are, the New Day. A bunch of Raw people are apparently here tonight because nothing means anything in this brave new world of the brand split. They also talk about The Undertaker. They do the kneeling pose. They do the sit-up. Sami Zayn then interrupts, and he's sick of all the Taker talk. And the Taker is taking the coward's way out with his final farewell here. He talks some trash about Bobby Lashley in preparation for their match. By the way, Lashley is the only champion on tonight that I don't think you ever see on this show. I know you don't see him, but I think he's the only champion you don't actually see in this thing. So that I thought was interesting. So anyway, the New Day make fun of how Sammy looks like he just got a studio apartment after a divorce. King Corbin shows up, and Xavier and Baron are yelling about the crown. That must be some up, up, down, down reference I'm not aware of. So Corbin tells the New Day to leave because they already had their farewell match here. It's a good point. It's like, why are you here? You already had your farewell match not that long ago. And New Day are like, oh, no, it's different because we're here just visiting. We're not wrestling. Totally different. Yeah, I buy that. Out come Rugler. That's Dolph Ziggler and Bobby Roode, by the way. They seem to have been imbued with the spirit of FTR in this night with their cool matching leather jackets. They have some words to the New Day saying, you know, them trading the belts cost them a shot at the tag titles. The New Day try and stir the pot between Rugler and Corbin and Zayn and try to get them to have a match, basically, but they end up getting jumped. The New Day, that is. The heels jump the New Day. The Street Profits show up to make the save, and somebody call Teddy Long, because holla, 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 it's an 8-man tag team match play. A Taker would be most pleased by that. In fact, that segment should have ended with the match being made, and then just like you see a picture of The Undertaker like Mufasa in The Lion King of the Purple Clouds going, you know, something like that. A nod of approval. So we have the match here. You know, it is what it is. It's not like a lot of stories being told here with this. It's basically hyping you up for Survivor Series, essentially. The match ends when Zayn, who's been avoiding a confrontation the entire match, finally tagged in against his will, and he is brought into the ring by force, the cash out, and by Ford, and that's how the match ends. The good guys win. And so the New Day and Street Profits have a stare down in the ring, holding the belts up. It's an okay match. Pretty much everyone got their stuff in except for Zayn, and that was pretty much that. So then afterward, we see Daniel Bryan backstage with his new haircut, somewhere between like The Miz from a couple of years ago and Richard Spencer. That's all I'm gonna say. Sammy walks in and is upset at Bryan for laughing at his expense. Bryan gives him a shove, and Zayn balks, saying he's got a match to prepare for on Sunday. So back from the break, Bryan gets to watch the well-produced video of him getting beaten down 3 weeks ago by Jey Uso. I can just imagine, man, that video looks so good, but I hate getting beat up like that. And so anyway, Bryan says, he believes Jey Uso when he said it was something personal, he understands what Jey is going through. He's got a devil on his shoulder, that being Roman Reigns, but he believes, but he's still mad because of what he put Bryan through and how he couldn't hold his daughter, and how his daughter cried every time he saw her or she saw him. So he's more than ready to face Jey, and that it's nothing personal, he says. We go backstage elsewhere to Adam Pearce, who's talking to the fifth man of the Survivor Series team. Throw out your votes if you thought that The Undertaker was going to be the fifth man of that team. That'd be too much fun. No, it goes to Otis, who Adam Pearce's rationale for that was because, well, your story is so great. You didn't qualify to earn anything in this thing. You're just there. And so here we go. It makes sense because, Otis, he was Money in the Bank winner. It's good to keep him somewhat relevant. I do agree with that. So I think that was a bit wishful thinking to say The Undertaker was going to take that spot. That would have been silly. I think it would be fun, some fun fantasy booking, but I think they're just going to keep it to the whatever farewell segment they do, and that's pretty much going to be it. So then as soon as Otis, oh yeah, by the way, Chad Gable also sharing credit for him getting that spot. We did it because you have the alpha power. Have we seen any documented work between them so far since last week when Otis agreed to take this on? We saw the weird evil look from Chad Gable for no reason. I don't think we have yet. So as soon as Otis and Chad walk away, Natalya walks in, and she's mad because she's been lobbying for a spot on the women's team for ages. And she's like, why did you just give Otis the spot? Yeah, it's a good point. So Pierce says he's chosen Bayley to join the team as well, and Natty's mad about it. And so we go... Before her match, though, we see a promo from Seth Rollins where he talks to Murphy and says that he is responsible for all of Murphy's success and all of his good fortune as of late, including his beautiful new girlfriend in Aaliyah. And so he's upset that he got stabbed in the back and betrayed, and that from here on out he will no longer suffer for Murph's mistakes, and that Murphy will go back to being a nobody after their match. But before that, though, we go to Natalya versus Tamina in a last chance qualifying match. The winner will take that fifth spot in the Survivor Series team. What on earth has Tamina done to earn this opportunity, other than the fact that she's the last woman on the roster who's not being used right now? Bayley shows up, and she joins Bianca Belair on commentary for this very, very short match. I really didn't have time to really take any notes for this. Natalya wins the sharpshooter fairly quickly, so then all the ladies in the team get in the ring, show some unity, which is more than you can say about the Raw team right now. It's good to finally see the teams filled out, men's and women's, with just days to go before the pay-per-view. You could tell that's the last shut in their mind, is filling up the Survivor Series teams, because there's no point, And also, besides Lana, I feel Natalya is, at least on the SmackDown side, Natalya is the only woman on the SmackDown team who's got any kind of story going for her, in that she has spent weeks campaigning to get that spot in the team, and she finally earned her spot. Everyone else is just they won their qualifying matches, or in the case of Bayley, she was awarded it. So what's the story there for SmackDown? There's really no story. The story entirely goes to the Raw team right now, strictly because of Lana. In our next segment, we've got a contract signing between Drew McIntyre and Roman Reigns, which seems kind of redundant. Why do we need a contract signing? Because we've always known it was going to be champion versus champion. We don't need to bring ink and paper into this, is all I'm saying. So, Drew, the new champion, visiting Raw for the second week in a row. Again, nothing matters. Roman tells Drew, he's echoing what Paul Heyman told him many years ago. He's the right guy at the right place at the wrong time. Drew signing the contract and telling Roman, he's begging him, please underestimate me and spend these couple days of peace preparing for war. Roman comes back by saying that Drew is a secondary title holder, and the only reason he has that championship is because Roman was too busy to be the WWE champion, basically. Says that one day Drew will love him for the lessons that he has taught him, and that Roman will love him right back, and then calls Drew his favorite number 2. Ooh, snap. Paul Heyman hands Roman the belt, and you hear that rap of the Velcro as he takes it to give it to him. Kind of kills the moment for a minute there. But besides that, it was an awesome segment. You know, I love hearing these two-cut promos. Roman and Drew are both so good at that, and so I'm totally on board for it. I wish we had more build for this match because it is going to be great. I think they're two of my top guys right now, like across both shows. So I think it deserves more airtime, and I hope that down the line we can get more matches between these two. But I feel that these two are definitely like the right calls for like champions going into Survivor Series at this point. Our next match, I'm seeing a few people talk about Big E should have replaced Otis as the 5th man. I kind of agree with you. Like, of the two, I'd go with Big E over Otis. The fact that Big E's... Although, I wouldn't put it past them to put Big E as the winner of the Battle Royal. They just announced today. There's going to be a Battle Royal in the kickoff show. If Big E does not win the Battle Royal, I'll be surprised. Because I can't think of anyone else that's, like, not in the Survivor Series matches or title matches that, like, could win. So anyway, we got Murphy versus Seth Rollins. The Mysterio family come out with Murphy, but Murph sends him to the back. This is a grudge match, by the way, after Murphy betrayed Seth and helped Rey Mysterio win that final chapter last week. Seth grabs a kendo stick, and the Mysterios get involved, but Seth beats them all up. At one point, Seth shoves Murphy like off the turnbuckle, and he falls backwards into the barricade, which is such a scary-looking bump to me. I would be terrified of taking a bump like that. Seth with a stomp on Murphy as he tries to get back into the ropes, but he hits his foot in the ropes, so the pinfall is broken up. Somehow Murphy comes back with 2 big knees and the Murphy's Law to win, and just like, that's it. Like, he beats him super clean. And we've seen Seth kick out from a lot bigger than that, so it's like, wow, real big shocker to see Seth lose 2 big matches in a row like that. Not just to Rey last week, but also to Murphy here. God, I felt that with... I felt that the beginning stages of this storyline with Seth and Rey, like, it was so hokey, and so, the blinding thing was so dumb, I felt. But I think they did about as well with that as they possibly could. And now, like, on his way out to be a father, Seth is just, like, dropping L's to everybody. He's putting everyone over. He's put Dominic over. He's put Murphy over. He's put Mysterio over. We've apparently made a new character in Aaliyah Mysterio. So, I mean, this storyline, for as long as it's gone, like, it's actually, I think, paid dividends in a lot of ways. At least the matches have been good, in my opinion. So yeah, I thought that was quite a big win for Murph. And as they're celebrating, we don't have too much time to really sink in with that, because Sasha Banks makes her entrance like right after the match is over, and after the break we have a face-to-face with Asuka. Asuka's weird because she drops like a Road Dogg line and a John Cena line, like, oh, you didn't know, your ass better call somebody, and you can't see me, like, okay, this is a weird turn for Asuka here. She's just like quoting people like that. Was a very bizarre turn for her. Asuka saying Sasha's not ready for her. Finally, she has her catchphrase to say, and then suddenly Carmella jumps Sasha from behind, and Asuka just stands there and lets it happen. Carmella putting her in the tree of woe, that is Sasha, kicks her in the face. That was a good look for Carmella these past few weeks, 3 weeks in a row now, like just with the cheap shots on Sasha, looking very sneaky and heelish. Hard to tell who to buy as the heel in this thing, because, you know, Sasha was talking trash and being her cocky self to Asuka, but then Asuka didn't lift a finger to try and break this up. She has no honor, no integrity of, like, let's try and preserve Sasha Banks for this matchup we're going to have. I want to try and get her when she's beaten up. So that was really interesting there. So we'll see how that match plays out. But if it's anything like their match at SummerSlam, then hopefully it'll be good. Your main event is Daniel Bryan versus Jey Uso. It's a rematch from 3 weeks ago when Jey, newly turned, following the Tribal Chief Roman Reigns, took out Daniel Bryan after the match and put him through a table. So it's a big brawl from the get-go here. Daniel gets dropped to the announce table before commercial break. Ultimately, the match ends when Jey hits many kicks, goes to the Uso splash, but Bryan puts the knees up, covers, and wins. So, a bit of a loss for the tribe, I guess. A bit of a shot there. taken. Bryan wins, his fancy new haircut blowing in the breeze. And that is how we wrap up this final SmackDown before Survivor Series. And with that, now that I've gotten that out of the way, and now that I know how long this thing has gotten fit, wow, 14 minutes. This is a record time for me, I think. So we are going to drop the results and bring up the grade. I gave it a B-. I was waffling between that and C+ a lot before doing this show. Ultimately, what put me over the edge for B- was that, like, as far as like building to Survivor Series, I think it did an okay job. Like, you know, as much as I rag on him for kind of like violating the sanctity of the brand split, having the people from Raw come over to visit, I thought was a nice touch, and like it beats the hell out of just, you know, one-sided promos where you don't get to hear the other side, except for Bobby Lashley in this case because he wasn't there tonight. Did you also notice, like, in the build for this, any time you've seen build as limited as it's been Raw guys coming to SmackDown and not the other way around, unless I'm plumb forgetting. But I watch Raw pretty regularly, and I don't think I've seen that happen. So it's been pretty one-sided in terms of like trying to dump the Raw guys on a SmackDown and help build Survivor Series. So that was fine. But there's not much more they could have done to really pique my interest in the show, because I was already very excited about a certain number of matches. And what we saw tonight didn't really enhance it that much more than I was already, you know, excited for. It just slightly reinforced my excitement for it. Decent job building it up, though. Yeah, I think as far as matches go, I liked, the Rollins and Murphy was a great match. Uso and Bryan was a fun match. And just that confrontation with Roman and Drew was really cool. I just really hope we can see more of that as we go on. So I'm going to leave the grade up here for a little bit. And now is the time, and just in case you're tuning in and you didn't see at the beginning, new tattoo. Yeah, that's it. Does it show up on the camera there? Let me look at this. Yeah, new ink, baby. I got Kane, I got Mankind, the Executioner from WrestleMania 1, and Strong Bad, just because he's awesome. And it's this was not intentional to have, you know, the Trogdor shirt and this is always going to be a fashion statement no matter what. So let's move on to the Super Chats. And thank you all for watching, too, by the way. We're at 233 viewers. Thank you very much. If you're new to this live segment, I do it every Friday night. Doing the SmackDown review live because it's quicker. So we're going to be with the Super Chats here. Tyler Joseph Smith with a $4.99 Super Chat saying, Roman Reigns and Drew McIntyre will be epic, but I feel like it would be more intriguing if both guys were going in undefeated this year. Is the dynamic better than their WrestleMania match? Good question, because until you wrote that down, I forgot they actually did wrestle last year's WrestleMania. That was the furthest match from my mind that year. I think the dynamic is better naturally because it's a totally different game. They're both champions now. They're both the top of their field, and I think they're both character-wise in the right spot. I think people were still hesitant to throw their support behind Roman Reigns last year at WrestleMania, because even if he came back from leukemia, like, brother, we still don't like how they pushed you down our throats for 3 or 4 years or whatever. That's not my opinion. I'm just like speaking for the general fan base. But yeah, the dynamic's way better than WrestleMania. I just I never really felt that build for that matchup, honestly. Drew and Roman, it felt like it was a foregone conclusion. Roman was going to win that one, and I don't know. I just felt that one, and like, I'll never forget Drew going, "Think of your family, Roman." I always I think about that sentence at least once a week, and I have no idea why. Just Drew like, "Think of your family, Roman." And but yeah, as far as it'd be cool if like you have a match where two sides are undefeated, but you're not always going to get that. But yeah, I think Roman and Drew will be better than last year's WrestleMania match, I feel. W. Stein, speaking of strong match, Steiny, get me a Danish. $2 Super Chat. Which is the worst Triple H and Stephanie regime, 99 to 2000 or 2013 to 2014? That I think is a good topic for a video. But if you want my answer off the top of my head, I would probably say, I'd say 2013, 2014, because I feel that the big problem, and I do plan on doing a whole video on the Authority sometime soon, but one thing that really made that run so unbearable to watch as a fan was the fact you never saw the Authority get their comeuppance. And when they did, it was so short-lived. Like, if we're going to compare it to Austin McMahon, which is the template that like every single like authority figure versus babyface wrestler is being compared to for the last 20 odd years, like almost every week McMahon got embarrassed. Like almost every week something happened to him. And it's like he took it, and then like every time you got like a leg up on Austin would just come right back and do something to embarrass him. And it was, you know, that I think that dynamic worked. That was a lot of fun. But God, I felt that it was just a slog from 2013 and 2014. The heels just dominated and dominated. And I don't even know if Daniel Bryan winning at WrestleMania 30 was enough goodwill to make up for that. I felt that, yeah, it was cool, and then like that whole title reign went to shit because Bryan got hurt. So you couldn't even really bask in the glow of Bryan unseating the Authority because like it was just here we go, it's back to the status quo because Bryan's hurt. So short answer, I'd say 2013-2014 is the worst one. Trakes with 4 X's, $2 super chat. Roman and Drew do promos without a mic. Interesting. Well, I mean, I think you're afforded to do that now because the Thunderdome doesn't. I mean, as I've discovered in the last couple of weeks, looking at the recap packages, they don't pump the crowd sound in on like in the ring apparently, or maybe they do it when they feel like it. I don't know, but like all they had to do was boost the audio in the ring, and they could talk perfectly normally and casually. I think that was good. I liked that feeling of no mics. And they were just talking, you know, they weren't like in promo voice mode. So I like that. I think that was a cool wrinkle there. Oh, sorry. God, we're 20 minutes into this thing. I've not had my sip of H2O. That's where I'm putting the ad break, by the way. It's just me just drinking for 10 seconds. Richie the Wolf, $2 super chat. Do you think Undisputed Era as faces could work out? Yeah, I mean, if we're to believe that they're faces right now in NXT going against Pat's Pack, then yeah, I think so. It's like I don't think it could be a long-standing face run by any means. They're much better as heels, and once they inevitably dispose of Pat's Pack, I don't know, how much more mileage a babyface Undisputed Era has in NXT. But I could be wrong. We'll have to see about that. Parker Soul saying $5 super chat. Who are the top 8 MVPs of the Quarantine Performance Center era video? That's a good idea for a video for sure. Like there's a lot. I mean, you wrote down Asuka, MVP, Garza. Who else did you write here? Andrade. Yeah, there's a lot of like people who stepped up in like different phases. Like it was never one concentrated like here are these workhorses. It always came in phases. The first like month or so of pandemic era definitely goes to like Zelina Vega, Andrade, Angel Garza, because those three were carrying, and to a lesser extent Austin Theory, because he was part of that group as well at the time. But I think the real credit goes to the first three of that group. Yeah, Asuka definitely carried the banner for a long time. I think Roman Reigns definitely has stepped up as one of the best players in it. Yeah, you could pick a lot of people for that as well, I think. So yeah, that's a good idea for a video. As far as like end of year video goes, I think I've been trying to think of what I want to do with that, because there's been enough stuff in wrestling this year that has nothing to do with the pandemic. You could do countdowns of like best and worst like I normally do, but I also want to do like, you know, a video of like the best moments of the pandemic or something like that. I don't know, like I'm still working that out. Trakes again with $5. I will go completely bananas if Lana is the sole survivor. Maybe the Sins of Miro ends at Survivor Series. Let me hope, damn it. I mean, I agree. I think that's kind of I'm not going to give too much away. My predictions video for Survivor Series drops tomorrow, by the way, but I will say that I'm betting that Lana's going to be sole survivor for Raw. That's the one I'm going to give away here. Ken terminated by DQ, $5 super chat. Loved your 93 Survivor Series review. Thank you. Am I the only one surprised you didn't make any Brock Lesnar jokes at Ludwig Borga? You know, I can see some comparisons just physically, like they have the same haircut. But yeah, I mean, I don't really know enough about Ludwig to really make that comparison. And like he was definitely like flavor of the month. He was kind of like the big monster. And then for a bunch of reasons, he didn't become that guy. He didn't become the top monster that they really wanted him to be. And I haven't done enough studying of 93 to really understand why. I know injuries played a part in it, and then when he came back, like they just didn't have a place for him, or he didn't have the passion for it. So very interesting how Ludwig Borga played out. A lot of what ifs I think you could do about what became of him. So, yeah. Ludwig Borga, not Brock Lesnar. Big, I like that name. $5 Canadian. Did you know... What is this? So this feels like a familiar comment. Did you know you used to play D&D as Haltane the Paladin, got killed by a chromatic dragon? I feel like I've seen the comment before. I didn't get it then. I don't get it now. But thank you for the super chat, Big. Double big. Edward Economist, 5 New Zealand dollars. What's the worst pay-per-view from WCW in 2000? Probably has to be Bash at the Beach or New Blood Rising. In fact, I would say New Blood Rising is worse than Bash at the Beach. Yeah, if I'm trying to remember how I rated them, and yeah, I feel that's the worst one. I've not seen all the 2000 pay-per-views. I've seen a lot of them. I've seen Slamboree, I've seen Super Brawl, I've seen Bash at the Beach, I've seen Halloween Havoc. I feel like I've seen one more besides that, but it's not coming to mind right now. But of those 4, I can definitely tell you, like, yeah, New Blood Rising is probably the worst one. $5 from Fred. Would you ever do a video on Waylon Mercy? I think he came in the wrong era and could have been a star with that gimmick. I've talked about him briefly. When I did my best ripoffs video, I compared Bray to Waylon, and the story is, Bray even, like, kind of picked Waylon Mercy's brain a bit to get more of the nuances of that character, and that's kind of what helped contribute to that first version of Bray Wyatt that we saw for a long time 6 years ago. Yeah, could do more of a deep dive into Waylon Mercy. I don't think he was there long enough to really kind of like explore much about that, I feel. You could do a video about like guys who like never got that chance, or who were kind of like, not who didn't get a real chance to flourish. I mean, we could put Ludwig Borga on that countdown as well. If we're talking about guys who had a brief moment of like, of a burst of momentum and then totally gone for whatever reason. So, yeah, Bash at the Beach had the wedding gown match, the first 0-star rating. That was true. It was. I think that's all for soups right now. I'm trying to think of what else to talk about. I don't know. I feel like. Yeah, Survivor Series. I'm interested in seeing what the farewell for Undertaker's going to look like. I'm betting it'll probably be the final segment of the show, because you want to end on a big emotional moment, I guess, and it's probably going to give you more of a pop and more of an emotional reaction than anything else in the card right now. Like, there's no stakes in that one either, because the stakes already been made. Taker's leaving. But I'll believe it when I see it, because as much as they've been hyping up the final farewell, and they've been doing the special appearances, he's been on Hot Ones, and he's doing a collaborative clothing line with Snoop Dogg for whatever fucking reason that is. That's so confusing. That's so random. They're doing all this, and they have the limited edition like Undertaker wine, which, by the way, that's currently sitting in my house right now. I got the Ultimate Warrior Undertaker wines. Those will be taste tested in the next couple weeks, so buckle in for that one. But as far as like the Taker farewell, I'll believe when I see it. They've got to do something real big to really definitively, this is the end. And if 30-year anniversary at Survivor Series is it, then sure, like let's have it. I'm ready. I'm ready to see the final farewell of the Undertaker. If it wasn't at WrestleMania in Orlando, then who knows? What was it with Jay Biggs, Zayn? What about Jay Biggs? I don't know. I've lost track of what I've been talking about so far. Yeah, I mean, okay, it can either go one of two ways with the Taker segment. Either it ends as totally clean, like, thank you, Taker, and, like, the roster's there to send him off or whatever, and it ends happy, feel-good moment, or Taker and Vince hug or whatever. Something like that happens, or we set up for Mania, where it's like somebody beats him up at the end. Like, it's The Fiend, or it's Aleister Black, but considering Zelina Vega just left or got released, I doubt that's going to happen. So it's one of those two things. But I would be more happy if we just had it end with this and just end gracefully, basically. The taste test video. No, Biggs is not. He doesn't drink. He's not an alcohol man. So I'm better suited to go with my sommelier friend. If you saw my review of a little bit of the bubbly last year, I had a sommelier in town named Dave Graydon stop by and help me kind of analyze the beverage, and so he's going to come back to help me figure out what's the difference between a Cabernet Sauvignon and a Zinfandel, because I sure as hell don't know. And how will these taste, compared to other Zins and Cabs? That's what his role is, because I don't know. And like I've had alcohol, I drink occasionally, but it's like I don't like wine. It's not my drink of choice, so I'm not going to be the person to talk about that. Yeah, I want to do more videos with Jay Biggs again. Like, pandemic made everything kind of rocky, obviously. Like, this is the couch we normally film at, and I don't know if I feel comfortable, like, being right here. We have to be, like, a very far edge, like, all the way over here, leaning like this. Like, we have to be, like, I don't know. He's not as nervous as I am about it, but you get it. You get it. Yeah. Oh, what I'd love to do is do a countdown, too, of, like best cinematic matches, because there were a lot of them in wrestling this year. Like, especially WWE, like every pay-per-view they had a cinematic match. Like, well, we got to get one in. Like, that's what the kids want. And then, like, after a while, they learned they don't have to do that anymore, and so they just like stopped. Like, seriously, like the Cameron Grimes versus Dexter Lumis thing for Halloween Havoc was the last cinematic match they've done. It was the first one in months, it felt. So let's see here. Got a couple new soups. Trakes, $2. Plot twist: Goldberg spears the Undertaker Survivor Series. Oh, wouldn't that be amazing if he just like got his heat back from the Saudi show? Abnormally Lilith, $5 super chat. Do you feel WWE would want Taker to retire in front of a crowd? Set up a feud now in the hopes he can retire in front of a crowd at Mania. That's a possibility, but at this point, I would not leave that to chance. I don't think we're going to have an in-person WrestleMania. I mean, the way that the COVID cases are rising right now, I'd be very surprised if you were able to have a live attendance WrestleMania next year. I don't think you're going to get that until 2022. As shitty as that is, I'm not a fan of that either, but I think that's the reality of the situation. I could be wrong. We'll have to wait and see what happens. But, yeah, I would love for Taker I would love for all this shit to be happening right now in front of a live crowd. And I think that of anyone who deserves a live crowd send-off, it's The Undertaker, but I don't think we're going to get that if we try and plan something for Mania. That's my take on that. I just think they should quit while they're ahead and just say, you know what? And, like, if they want to do, like, something else down the line for Taker, like us, like, what they can do is, when he's inevitably inducted in the Hall of Fame, then he can have that moment in front of the crowd. That's what you would do with Taker if you want to save it for a live crowd experience, in my opinion. And so, yeah, that's my take on that. As much as I want to see Mania come back, like, it's not going to happen this coming year. I'd be very surprised. Because the vaccine might be coming out in a month or two, but a lot of people are going to be taking it. And like, even if they do, you still have to wait a long time for the vaccine to take effect. You got to take another vaccine. Like, and it's like, until the vaccines are independently verified as safe, like, a lot of people are going to be taking it. So that's a whole other thing I'm not going to talk about here. Yeah, like, I'd love to see WWE, like, bring people back for shows. Like, AEW, obviously, is the first one to have done it. There seems to be not too many incidents from there, even though you see videos of people clearly not following the mask protocol, which is pretty funny and sad. But it's it is what it is, and that's just kind of the modern reality now. And so I'm disappointed too. I'm as disappointed as all y'all. Oh, people talk about Dewar's. I used to be really into Dewar's whiskey because, like, or Scotch, I guess is the technical name, because, like, Patton Oswalt was really big into Dewar's for a while. He would name drop Dewar's in all of his bits, and I'm like, oh man, I want to drink like Patton drinks. He was my favorite comedian at the time, and so, like, I would have it. I'm like, I'll I'll stick with it for a bit, and so there will not be a live pay-per-view review on Sunday. It will be pre-recorded and, edited like it normally is for that one. And like I mentioned, I'm going to wrap this up here. Oh, hang on. How did I feel about Glenn Jacobs responding to my tweet about the tattoos? Well, it's not like I didn't expect it because I tagged him in it, so it was kind of like fishing for a compliment. But when he actually did respond to it, I was pretty blown away by that. I wish he had said more than awesome, but it was still pretty cool. Like, Kane is one of my favorites of all time, and yeah, it was just a really cool moment to have him respond positively to that. Yeah, it was really cool, and like I said, this tattoo is the masks that mean the most to me. So like Kane, obviously, Kane and Mankind, two of my favorite wrestlers, or Mick Foley at least. And this is the Executioner from WrestleMania 1, which is Buddy Rose in a mask. I've talked about him before. Buddy trained me, and so it's kind of my little tribute to him. And again, Strong Bad, because Strong Bad's fucking dope. Parker Soul saying $5. Dewar's Scotch. At least one thing will go smoothly today. God, I love that bit so much. I lost that CD, man. I had the 222 album. It was a double disc with the extended version of Feeling Kind of Patent. I had that with me on the drive Biggs and I took to Cauliflower Alley Club back in 2011, and I left it in the rental car on the way back, and I'm so mad about that. I was so mad. And also my original copy of Purple by Stone Temple Pilots was also lost in that one, which is why you never get physical media. Will I make a tattoo based on Colonel De Beers? No, I will not. I can't think of a tattoo that would to pay tribute to Colonel De Beers. You know, the funny story about that, the Executioner mask actually was Ed Wiskowski's. It was Colonel De Beers' mask, and he was just like, it was laying around. He needed a mask, and so Ed let him borrow it, I guess. And if you look at Buddy's boots, he put like electrical tape over the sides of it because his boots had like rows on the side. So that's a story that I was always told about Buddy in the Executioner outfit. Joe Mayer's $5 super chat. What was my finisher in the Indies? It was a DDT. It was my kind of like my big signature move. But really my finisher was just like looking up at the lights. You know, that's all it pretty much was. Let's see here. Oh, Ciampa's mask. Well, I don't like Ciampa's mask. Yeah. Some people were like, "What do you?" People were asking, "What about Big Hoss McGraw?" Yeah, I don't know. Like, maybe the next tattoo will be Big Hoss McGraw mask. People asked about what about the Art Barr mask, the Love Machine mask. Like, Art Barr is a bit too complicated of a person for me to immortalize, forever on my skin. So ultimately, the Love Machine's not going to be, printed on my skin for life. A Cody Rhodes face mask, yeah. So yeah, there's going to be Survivor Series predictions tomorrow. The review's happening Monday morning. And before the month is out, there will be, I'll be dropping a special skit involving back when I had the mustache. So if you thought that the Me as Hollywood Hogan in the 93 Survivor Series video was the only Hogan video I made, you is mistaken. There will be another one coming out very shortly, but I wanted to wait on that one. If you are on Patreon, patreon.com/wrestlingwithregret, that video is out now on there. And, for as little as $1 a month, you get access to my exclusive videos on there. And at $5 and up, you get the early access to the Wednesday videos. So there's more on that. Go to patreon.com/wrestlingwithregret. For more of that. And so, yeah, stay tuned for my predictions tomorrow, and I'm looking forward to seeing what happens on Survivor Series on Sunday. There will be some good matches. I'm looking forward mostly to the tag team match with the Profits and the New Day. Sasha and Asuka should be good, and I think that Drew and Roman's going to be awesome as well. I could not care less about the Survivor Series matches, if I'm being totally honest. But that's going to do it for tonight. And there will be no Jim Cornette tattoo. I saw that comment. But always remember, the influencer loves ya. I'm Brian Zane.